Hi, Steve.
Hi, mate.
Thank you so much for joining us today.
Okay.
As you know, we're going to be going through some questions today. And the first one for you is, what inspired you to join the profession? And could you tell us a little bit about your journey in Baggette?
Yeah, so I started my career when I was 16. I worked for a building society, was a cashier. Then I saw the guys doing mortgage interviews, and I thought, yeah, that's something I want to do. Stayed in bank assurance for about 17 years, and then became independent for the last 20 years.
Wow. And so how long were you a mortgage broker for 17 years?
No, as a combination of financial advisor, mortgage broker, jack of all trades, really.
Oh, really?
And didn't really build a client bank, to be fair. And then a good friend of mine set up his own business, an IFA, and the rest is history.
Oh, wow.
So I joined it.
And that was 20 years ago?
20 years ago, yeah. I took a lot of clients with me, which was good,
Nice.
and built the business from there.
Amazing. And then so you started becoming a financial advisor, and what was the most difficult thing in that transition?
I don't know, really. It was something that I really enjoyed doing, I guess. Wanted to help people. And then I had a change of direction last year. The old firm that I was working for, they were looking to join a network. And I decided that it wasn't for my clients.
Yeah, we've had that conversation before.
We have.
Because I personally came from a network as well when I joined the industry. So why did you feel like a network wasn't right for you and your clients?
I'd had a bad experience with a network back in 2008.
Okay.
And I felt quite let down by a network. Had a lot of effect on my clients as well.
Yeah.
And I said to myself that I've never joined a network again.
Oh, okay. Right. It's that simple. It's just simple. Anything in particular do you feel like why is independence so important to you, do you think?
I think when you're dealing with clients, they want the best that you can get. Having a whole of access market to every product, every provider. When I was bank assurance and a tied agent for 17 years, you had no option other than sell the product that you had.
Yeah.
And the independence, something that I really enjoy.
I think it's interesting that what you said, you have to sell that product.
Yeah.
Because I personally feel like when you're independent, you move away from sales, because I don't have a good likeness for it. But someone once said a doctor, for example, a doctor doesn't sell you drugs in the UK. They tell you what the problem is and they give you a diagnosis. Yeah. And that's how I feel an independent financial advisor is, because actually if you come to me and you have an inheritance tax problem, I address your inheritance tax problem.
Yep.
I don't try and sell you an endowment. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah, I think the other thing with the banking side, it's heavily targeted as well. It was more like I used to call it a conveyor belt, client in, client out. There was no specific relationship where you would see them the next year or the next year because you had targets to me. And that's the thing I also wanted to move away from, I guess.
And what attracted you to us?
So, as you know, Lisa was worked for you for a couple of years.
Yeah.
And we were in Thailand together last year. Just about the time that my old firm were making a decision to join the network. And we got talking. And the rest is history.
Tell me a little bit more, Steve.
I don't know really, mate. It was a case of Lisa, she was really singing your praises, as well as Joe, the firm, its background, how big you are, and the fact that you will never go network because FCA directly authorised is a big thing. And that's why I wanted to continue my journey.
Yeah, FCA authorised, chartered
as well.
Strong investment proposition. So, and obviously
a good support as well. There's a lot of people behind us, which is a good thing.
Yeah, a lot of people.
Yeah, there are.
Yeah. And then clearly you and I had the discussion before you joined, but do you feel like you've been told what to do after joining us? Do you feel like there's been any pressure in any way, shape, or form?
I can't say there's been any pressure at all. Even the distance, I'm 3 hours away. You haven't put pressure on me to actually come down and say, I need you here. And as I've always said to you, that if you need me,
no, I know.
A bit like Wednesday and Thursday this week and today. But no, I think in the early stages of getting onboarded properly with Joe and all the clients and all the work that we had to do, there's a lot to do. Therefore, my presence was obviously a lot more often than I am there.
Yeah, absolutely. And one more thing on this part is, what inspired you to become a financial advisor? Was it like a moment, or was it just
I think my dad, as a coalface miner, had a bad experience with some advice that he had on his pension.
Yeah.
It was all in the newspapers, and he was told to transfer that fund out.
Yeah.
Which then we know was the incorrect advice.
Yeah.
He lost a lot of money.
Yeah.
So I wanted to make sure that I helped people and not have what happened to my own dad to other people.
That is really, really nice to hear. And actually, when we talked about your clients before, you do have a lot of people that you genuinely help, and you're in that position of trust, aren't you?
Yeah, we are.
And
we all are.
We all are, yeah. But it's quite interesting, isn't it? You know, we probably both had meetings where you sit down in front of a client and they go, "Oh, no, I'll sign whatever you put in front of you." You have to go, "What? No, we have."
You always get that sort of people because they trust you, don't they?
Yeah.
They trust you with their life.
Yeah.
And you look after them and take them into their journey.
Yeah. Any clients that stick out in particular that you're like, "I'm so happy I could help them. I'm so happy I was there for them"?
No, I think I pride myself in two of my clients, one in Scotland, one in Dorset, that they lost their husbands, and their husbands were the people that dealt with all the finances.
Yeah.
And I always said that wherever they go, sounds a bit of a cliche, I follow them. Hence why I fly to Edinburgh to see this lady, and I'll never let people do.
No.
And I'm a man of my word.
Yeah, absolutely. And I've come to realise that with you as well, that you definitely are. And if you say you're going to do something,
I wear my heart on my sleeve, mate.
Yeah. And it's very rewarding as well, though, isn't it? On the flip side, you when you leave somebody, you're like, right, I've done a really good job there.
Yeah.
There's a lot of satisfaction in yourself, isn't there?
Yeah, I mean, I went to a leaving do last week for one of my clients. I look after a big factory in Redditch, and there was 16 people that are all my clients, and all 16 of them I had retired. So they were at that leave and do drinks, buffet, etc. And it's quite a proud moment when you walk in there and they all know who you are, and you've all retired those people, and that's what you manage.
Yeah, it is. It is.
Makes me smile.
Yeah, me as well. I think it's so wonderful to be able to go, right, that I've really helped those people. And I always say when we get new people come through the door, my objective and the firm's objective and your objective is to make people more comfortable with their money.
Yeah.
And so I always say that if you come in here and when you leave and you feel more worried, then I have massively messed up. And I think you're very good at that. You're very good at explaining things to people in a very clear way, making people feel comfortable and making people feel confident in their future journeys.
Yeah, it's something that I was trained, I guess, back in the late 80s. And it was keep it simple, stupid, which basically means that say it as it is.
Yeah, acronym KISS, I think.
Yeah, this kid. There's something I'll never forget.
Yeah. No, I live and die by that as well. I think there are some people, as we all know, they want a lot more information, but probably 70-80% of our clients, they just want it distilled in a very nice, easy, digestible way and all this.
I think you're always going to get people that will want the elaboration on more in-depth subjects, but that's your judgment as an advisor to say, do you want more or don't you want more? That's the important thing, is making sure you recognise and you know what your client wants.
You bespoke it for their needs, right?
Yeah.
So there's not a one-size-fits-all. It's you give people what it is that they want, but you challenge them if what they want isn't actually what they need.
Yeah, totally agree.
So I would just like to dig a little bit deeper into the support network that you have at Baggette and how that you feel that supports you.
So I think from the first moment I met you and Jet, I knew the support was going to be there anyway. And within probably 10 days or so, we'd done something like 300 letters of authority.
Yeah.
That you and I spent one evening until 8:30, stuffing envelopes that I'll never forget.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of clients to move. So there's over 200 clients.
Yeah.
And the way in which it worked was streamlined. It was something that I'd never seen before, to be quite honest, because Joe had got it so organised. All the letters were done. You and I were sending them out to clients. They all came back. But I think the important thing out of all of this is that I'd spoken to all clients before I'd made the decision that I was going to leave. And they were aware of they were going to get letters.
Yep.
But I think the systems that are in place allowed that to happen without any complication at all. All 200 plus clients were onboarded, mostly within probably 6 to 8 weeks, I would say, at the outside. And that speaks volumes, really, as to how much work in the background, not just Joe, but the rest of the team. And, you played your part with me as well. And that made the transition really smooth, which is important because the previous firm I was at, I've been over 12 years.
Yeah.
Some of these clients have been with me over 20 years. And it's imperative that if I make a change, I need to know that change is going to happen smoothly.
Yes.
And it's pretty impressive because he did.
Yes. But I think, although I would love for our firm to take credit for that, I do think that is a credit to you because you took the time, you called every single one of your clients. They did get letters. So letters of authority basically mean that that's where you sign and you move from one firm to another. But you communicated that with every single person so that when they got their letter in the post, they all knew what they were getting, didn't they?
Yeah.
There wasn't a shock for anybody. And something I'm very proud of is, so the attrition in financial services is usually about 20%, which means that when you move from one firm to another, about 20% of clients tend to stay at the old firm. How many clients out of your circa 200 didn't come across with you?
I lost 8.
Which is an absolutely phenomenal number. Yeah.
And, at the end of the day, it's each to everybody's choice, whether they join or they don't join. There's no pressure from me as an advisor. I would hope, as it transpired, that everybody would come over because I've looked after them as I have for many, many years. But you're always going to get the people that don't want to change. And there's nothing I can do about that, to be fair.
No, and that could just be life circumstance or anything like that. I think having 4% is just phenomenal and speaks volumes for the kind of relationship that you have with your clients.
It does. And I think the other thing that was important with the transition, there was no changes to fees, because that's a big thing where if I'm changing somebody, I want to make sure it's like for like.
Yes.
Which is exactly what happened. And to be honest with you, nobody asked any questions about whether there's any change in charges, etc. But I felt a duty of care to make it clear that there's no change. No. It's still me.
Yep.
I'm still your advisor. I'm just a bit further away as far as I'm concerned for the office. Doesn't affect them.
No, exactly. And that's a very good point. You're further away from the office, but you're not further away from them, are you? You're still...
At my previous firm, probably 5 or 6 of those used to visit me.
Yeah.
In the offices where my service is personal, home visit. I see them face to face. I don't do Zoom calls. It's not my thing.
It's not.
No, it's my thing.
Difficult to get in a Zoom call.
And I think that's the most important thing of all of it.
Yeah.
Is it's a personal service. So whether I'm with you or wherever I am in the country, it doesn't affect them at all.
No.
And they haven't been noticed any change other than the change of letterhead.
Yeah. Which is exactly what you want.
Yeah, it is.
And then with this, obviously, comes the support that we give you.
Yeah.
You as an individual, and then you obviously cascade that on to your clients.
Yeah.
How important has that been? Because I know that we have reviewed a few of your clients with regards to their investments, with regards to where they're invested, and we're all proposing some changes. How do you feel that support helps you and your clients, obviously?
I think it just proves that my decision to join Baggette was the right move. It is a very proactive, future-looking firm. And again, it has the interest of its clients at heart. And that's the bottom line at the end of the day, is that we do our job, but we constantly look for other avenues that's going to better their experience, whether it's with us as a firm or their investments.
Absolutely. Yeah. Couldn't agree more.
Yeah.
And that's what we're trying to achieve. And I love what you said then. Client first. I think it's such an easy thing to do. I think whenever you do any kind of work in any industry, to be fair, but also in financial services, if you put the client first, the rest follows.
Yeah.
It's very easy.
Yeah.
It's very easy. And if you communicate with the clients like you have, very clearly. You tell them what you're going to do, and you're going to do that. Bringing it back to keep it simple, stupid.
Yeah.
You can't go far wrong, can you, Steve?
No, it took me, I think, to actually phone everybody, it took me probably 2 days.
Yeah.
And then it was a phone call again to say, have you got the letter? Have you sent it back? The people that I know would take a little bit longer, I would chase to make sure it had gone back. And again, it was the support of Joe with, we had spreadsheets all over the place, what had gone back, what was outstanding. And it was just a phenomenal exercise and successful.
Yeah. So we've talked a lot about various things.
Yeah.
But one thing I really want to know is, what is the most rewarding thing?
For me, as an advisor, is retiring a client that looks like a wrung-out rag and working in a factory for 40 years.
Yeah.
And then you get to see them every 6 months, where you do a review and an update, and their income's coming in from the pension. The change in their face and their attitude and just everything about them, that's what makes me proud. Is that you're responsible, as I said to you a few minutes ago with the leaving do that I went to. You are responsible. Their life is in your hands. Sounds a bit of a cliche, but actually, that's true. So much so that the guy that's just retired last week, his wife, I retired 3 years ago.
That's
It took him 3 years to actually realise it's time for him to go. That's what is the most rewarding part of my job.
That is really, really nice to hear.
Yeah.
Do you do anything? Do you send them a bottle of bubbly, or is there anything that you do? Do you take them out for dinner? Do you make everything have a song and dance?
Not really, I suppose. Don't know if that's the right answer or not, but no, I guess no, I don't. My wife knows a lot of them. Deb meets a lot of the people, which is great. They know her. They know all things about my family. I guess my job is looking after them and making sure that if they need me, within reason, I can pop to see them at any time. That's the beauty of living close to a lot of my people. I can just drop and see them if they need me, and that's important to them because they know, other than when I'm on holiday, that I'm always available.
You do realise you just called them people, not clients.
Did I?
Yes.
People. Right.
Well, but I agree with. I don't like clients. You have clients.
They are my people.
Correct.
Yeah.
You have clients. Of course, you have people that have a very transactional relationship with them. That's fine. But then you also have people that are much closer. To call them clients feels like you have a bit of a segregation. Most of my people know my wife and know my daughter and send them Christmas presents and cards and etc. And obviously we do the same the other way around.
Yeah. I think the other thing, and I'm just dealing with something at the moment. I class people, my closer people, as friends. It's not advising money. And one of the things that I say to people is that I'm not here for your money, because that's my job. You've asked me to come and help with your money, so it's not that I'm here as a salesperson. I'm here to make your money work for you.
Yeah,
and that's my ultimate goal.
Yeah,
that's what I enjoy the most.
So then I have to ask you,
yeah,
what's the worst thing?
I'm a control freak, I guess, and handing the baton to other people at Baggette.
Okay.
Because the background support is amazing, but I find it hard to let go of the control, the reins of something, because I want to make sure, not that it's not done properly, that it's done the way in which I want it to be done.
Yeah.
And I'll follow it through to the end. That's been the hardest part, is letting go of the control.
Okay. I can see that. It's and I guess that comes with time, because we ask our clients to trust us.
Yeah.
With all due respect, you are relatively new to the team. You've been with us for a year, and it's been a very intensive year.
It's been a quick year. And an intensive year.
Yeah. But it has only been a year, and like you said, you're all the way in the Midlands. So getting that trust with everybody in the firm and knowing that you can pass on, that you are able to utilize people more, it's going to take time.
It speaks volumes as well, because I'm starting to do that more than I ever have done, and it gives me more time then to spend with the client, because I'm not doing the administration behind the scenes because somebody else has helped me do it.
Yeah,
that's the nice thing.
Yeah,
I'm not as reliant on myself.
Yes.
is what I'd say.
And gets you more time doing what you're good at,
Absolutely.
which is talking to people, making them feel comfortable. Yeah. I love that.
Good. Yeah, mate.
What advice would you give other advisors thinking about making a similar move?
I would say to anybody out there that if you are unhappy where you are, or there is a change to the way in which that firm is going to operate, i.e. join a network, to bite the bullet. You know your clients yourself. As we said earlier, a large percentage of my clients followed me. And providing that they are happy and comfortable, and client satisfaction, we've already said from day one, is so important to not just you, to me, to the entire firm. And I also think as well that from the first moment I spoke to you, even before I'd met you, and coming into the boardroom at Baggette with you and Jeff, I knew that moment. That was it. So much so that's when I started ringing people on my way home to say I was moving firm. But I think it's important that you get the feel of the person.
Yes.
The attitude, the setup, what Lisa had told me, everything about Baggette speaks huge volumes.
Thank you. Yeah. I feel so too. I feel like we're trying to do things the right way.
Yeah.
I feel like we're trying to push things in the right order. So then I have to ask you, what advice would you have given to a younger Steve? So if you could do the whole thing again, you've just left the bank, you've just become independent. What advice would you give that Steve Foster? What would you say to him?
I think you've got to be careful with this on the word that you've got sufficient clients and a client bank to be able to move and set up.
Okay. Yeah.
But I also feel that looking back now, everything was sales targets. Everything was just bang, bang, bang. There was not really any service involved. You were restricted to what you could use. Was it proper financial advice years ago? Probably not, to be fair. Sales targets were a big thing, 60, 70-hour weeks rather. And it's something that I look back on and now think, you should have done that a long time ago.
Yeah, 70-hour days are hard, aren't they?
Very hard. Fresh week.
Yeah.
70-hour days.
Yeah.
No, seriously, I think, I left it too late.
Yeah. Okay.
But it's also the journey of your own life. You know, you've got family. I've got a young family to bring up. You also want that stability of a basic salary, guaranteed income.
Yeah.
When you go self-employed, it's your own responsibility. And I think sometimes life changes that allows you then to make the change.
Yeah, absolutely.
Providing family security is probably the most important thing that I'll ever have to do at the point where now we're set for life.
Yeah.
And I will never look back.
No, and I think that's a very good point. And I think the flexibility, being independent, is yes, you need to make sure that you have enough clients because you never want to get into a situation where you feel like you have to have people sign up. And I think that's one of your strengths, and that's one of my strengths. We love getting new clients and love servicing new people, absolutely. But we don't need that to happen because your business is viable and our business is viable.
And I think the other thing as well is that the client referral, that speaks volumes in itself.
Yeah.
You know, there's the factory I look after back at home. I have so many people from there. I'm actually known as the name of the factory, which is what they call me. It's word of mouth. You know, you do a good job, people will pass you on. But it's not often that people will say you've done a good job. But I know that because I get clients referred to. See,
and that's the nicest thing that can possibly happen, isn't it? There's no higher accolade than someone going, you need to talk to Steve because he did a really good job for me. And
and then you've got a double-edged sword. So you can't let people down because word of mouth, once again, is a powerful thing.
Yeah.
If you do something wrong, it spreads like wildfire.
Yeah.
And I think also client retention. I don't lose many clients. In fact, I haven't lost any clients for years. And that speaks volumes in itself, to be fair.
Yeah.
You do a good job, people will stay with you.
100%.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Steve.
You're welcome.
Really appreciate having you on the
Financial journey.
Thank you.
Good.